Hello and welcome to Business News. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has attributed the frequent grid collapses to vandalism and lack of maintenance in the past. The minister said this while receiving the report of the committee set up to address grid collapses in Abuja, noting that vandalism, theft of power equipment, lack of good maintenance, and external factors contributed to the collapses. Mr. Adelabu said the federal government is taking the issue seriously, requiring urgent attention, and assured that the ministry will review the report, make amendments, and submit it to the president. The six-member committee is chaired by the executive director of the Independent System Operator ISO, Mrs. Nafisat Ali. The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, says it will begin its sub-national tours from November the 12th in Katsina State, as part of efforts to foster a conducive business climate in Nigeria. Project Manager PEBEC Secretariat Aimeya Okpebolo disclosed this in Abuja. He said the initiative is aimed at enhancing the ease of doing business reforms at the state level through strategic collaborations with government entities, private sectors, and international partners. The PEBEC sub-national tour will provide opportunity for MSMEs, large companies, and entrepreneurs in the Northwest region to directly engage state governments, international partners, and sector-specific regulators. The world's largest conference was concluded in Abu Dhabi after 4 days of intense discussions and networking that had participants from across the globe. Helen Osamide Akins caught up with some African leaders to get their views concerning contending issues around energy transition.
Fossil fuels are the leading sources of carbon dioxide emission, which significantly drives global warming. Shifting to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower can help reduce greenhouse gases and combat climate change. One of the topical issues raised at this year's conference is Africa readiness for this energy transition, but how prepared is the continent to make these shifts?
You can see that we are working assiduously to move focus from conventional diesel and PMS to CNG as an alternate for mobility, and also gas as an alternate for power generation. So for us, the focus in NMPC is really moving gas and ensuring that gas really is the transition for our decarbonization. It's a lot that we will be saving from the transitioning.
We all have to be honest with ourselves in Africa, especially West Africa. Sierra Leone, we're still experiencing load shedding. We still have to do load shedding. So we're not going to kid ourselves and say that if the opportunity exists to give our people stable, consistent, reliable electricity, regardless of the source, that we won't take it. Our primary priority is making sure that our people are taken care of. So I would say that we are transitioning. We do have a lot of solar projects that we're investing in and that we're developing.
According to Africa Development Bank, the continent contributes less than 4% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, but remains one of the regions most vulnerable to climate impacts.
Africa's position on the energy transition, emphasizing balancing development needs with climate goals, achieving a just and equitable transition, leveraging renewables, and securing international financial and technical support.
If we're to be fair to one another, it's going to be a process. As Africans, and in Sierra Leone in particular, we are committed to that process. We're committed to renewable energy. We're committed to making sure that as much of our generation can come from renewable and cheap operational sources. But at the same time, we are very focused on economic development and taking our people from being a low-income country to a middle-income country.
And if you look at the impact of the emissions, we are only contributing 3% compared to other clients. So why measure us in the same way? And to that extent, we've campaigned for financing, because today you will agree with me that oil and gas oil in particular is vilified in the financing world.
African leaders continue to advocate for a pathway that allows responsible use of natural resources while progressively increasing renewable energy capacity. Helen Osamede Akins, TVC News, Abu Dhabi.